To our natural immunity lecture. Of course, we're doing this because what I know after 13 years in practice is once the kids go back to school, they start coming home like little petri dishes and sharing all their little critters with everybody else, and we'll start to see, colds and flus. And so if you aren't in a profession where you're forced to do the flu shot, there are natural ways that you can prevent those things. And so we're going to discuss a number of those things. Number one, how to prevent it, and number two, if you become symptomatic, how we can handle it. And so my disclaimer, because we're on camera, is I'm a chiropractor, so I don't treat diseases and infections, but what I can do is help to boost your immune system and build up your natural reserves so that you're healthy and your immune system can put up a front so that if you come into exposure from something that's infectious, your body can put up a good fight and not come down, become symptomatic. Or if you become symptomatic, we can shorten the lifespan of that discomfort for you, so we can improve productivity and get you back to work, and kids aren't missing school. So most of the techniques that I'm going to describe tonight not only stand for adults, but because we're using whole food nutrition, are safe enough and natural and mild enough for children and even infants. So I just want to introduce myself a little bit. I know most of you in the room at least know me, but might not have heard my story. For those of you who have heard it several times, I apologize. It's the same story, but I think it's important for you to understand how I got to where I'm at and why I'm passionate about doing this and taking time out of our evenings to get small groups of people together to share it. Because my hope is that you don't have to suffer as long as I did, struggling and looking for an answer, and that you guys can go forward and be messengers to help other people find answers before they get kind of tossed around the system. So my story starts way back in middle school. I had a chronic pain syndrome, and I was missing a lot of school. So I've always been super studious and passionate about my studies. I knew I wanted to be a doctor since my first 7th grade was my first biology class. I just didn't know what direction I wanted to go to, but I did think I was going traditional medicine. And so I was doing all my prereq studies and everything to do all of that, and I was advancing through high school really fast. I was taking college courses to the point where in my senior year I got to do something really cool. I went and shadowed doctors at the hospital. So I spent my afternoons on rounds with doctors, and I went to radiology, and I saw babies being born, and I went to different offices and saw different specialties. That was really neat. But all the while I was in pain, and I wasn't feeling good, and I was suffering to get through my studies. And that kind of progressed into college, and I ended up having to be my own advocate. They really didn't know what was wrong with me. I had every scope imaginable, every blood test, sent from specialist to specialist with really not a lot of answer or hope. And, they would ended up, I think this is like the straw that broke the camel's back for me, was like, oh, well, let's do exploratory surgery and see what we find. And I'm like, hold on, hold the phone. Like, let's just make me an experiment. Like, surgery, as much as I knew, was a major thing, Just anesthesia, recovery, all that kind of stuff. But we didn't know any better. My family, we were raised in a culture where you trust your doctor, you do what they say. We didn't know any different. I didn't have a degree, neither did any of my family. So it got to the point where I was having surgeries around the clock, like every 2 years. Abdominal surgeries, and they would go in and use laser and ablate scars and adhesions, which, if you don't know anything, causes more scars and adhesions. So it was in fact making things worse for me, but I didn't know that. And then after the surgery, they would treat me with a course of hormones. So I've been through menopause twice, chemically induced. TMI. We're going to do a lot of TMI today. That's the nature of the courses here. Which is reversible, thank God. Things are normal for me now because of what I've gone through to recover my health thereafter. But I ended up having to take a year off of my undergraduate studies, literally to go through menopause, and it made things worse before it made things better. But I was so sick going through the side effects of the medications. So fast forward to today, obviously things are a blessing in disguise, and you don't realize that until after the fact. But that led me on this path of discovery to kind of find out, like, what do I think real health is? How do we achieve real health? Is it achievable, or do we just treat the symptoms? So I kind of had to say enough is enough and be my own advocate. And luckily, I grew up, I was like 8 miles south of a chiropractic college. Never thought I would be a chiropractor. I had had chiropractic care when I was in middle mowing lawns and playing basketball, and my back was killing me. I was like a little scrawny thing, scrawnier than I am now. My back was so painful. So I went just for musculoskeletal care. I didn't know that there was more to chiropractic than just pain relief. And that's kind of what everybody says, like, oh, did you have like a really motivating story, you know, experience with your chiropractor, and that led you to want to become one? And I was like, not really. My chiropractor sent me home and told me that if you're in pain after the adjustment, which you probably will be, go take, I don't know, they didn't even have a leaf back then, Tylenol or ibuprofen or something.
Probably
I'm thinking like something. They didn't have, you know. And I was thinking like, oh, what do I need you for if I can just do that? But anyway, so that wasn't what motivated me. But I did end up on my discovery to figure out what I wanted to do with my career and what does health come from and how do I help people achieve health. I did land at the chiropractic college, so it was right in my backyard. And I went and I interviewed him and I told him about this painted this beautiful picture about this wellness practice that I dreamt of having and helping people recover their health and, you know, be healthy and prevent disease and all that. And little did I know that that's the chiropractic philosophy. So in chiropractic, they teach you that real health comes from within. There's no one-size-fits-all magic take-a-pill type of a solution that fits everybody. And so that like really resonated with me at that point in my life where I was at, and I was like, yeah, that's got to be it. Because I don't know if any of you have been down a similar path, but what happens when they can't find anything wrong with you? What do they tell you? Any ideas?
Yeah, it's in your head.
All in your head, exactly. She got it. You're depressed. I'm like, no. If anybody's ever known me, one thing I've never been accused of is being depressed. It's not it. So, I ended up going to chiropractic college and learning all this great philosophy and everything. And when I get out of college, I have a practice. So I'm stubborn. For anybody that knows me, I never went and associated under another doctor. I decided to just have my own practice. And so I shared space with another doctor. But the bugger of it was, as much as like a big idea that I had, you know, I saw the big picture for what I wanted for my future practice and all, patients didn't know to come to see me for those things. So the people that were knocking on my door were still neck pain, back pain, headache, like once it's broken, fix me kind of a thing. Which that was easy. Chiropractic works all day long for that kind of stuff. There's no mystery there. But I was like, what about all this like miracles that my, you know, professors told me about and recovering health and getting rid of medical mystery type of things, and you know, all that wasn't coming to the door. So that's when I decided that I knew I needed nutrition in the practice, because I got sick of just adjusting away the same thing over and over. So my brain always asking the question, why? I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. Plus, you know, I'm from New York, right? So we ain't got time for that. Like, you're gonna like fix it and move on kind of a deal, right? I don't have to do the same thing over and over and over again. We don't have time. So nutrition was a big component, and I started bringing that in the practice. And then when you're a doctor or any kind of practitioner, all these distributors come knocking on your door. You should sell this product, and you should carry this in your office, and so on, right? So it became really confusing to me, like, where do I go with this? The field of nutrition is endless, and it still is today. And we'll talk about there's still a lot of controversy and disagreement about what is health, what is nutrition, what's good for you, what's bad for you. So I started using nutrition in the practice, and we were able to see an increasingly more complicated caseload and help more people, large percent of people that didn't get better. And so something that I figured out was that I was still using nutrition as like symptomatic care, right? Pill for a problem is what we say. So you can go, I don't know, I probably have something in here, this like nutritional healing. You can look up the problem and it tells you all the nutrients that are good for that problem. And then you start trial and error, right? So the reason we weren't getting the great results that we could have is because it was still a pill for a problem and we weren't getting to the underlying cause of what was causing those symptoms. So that's how I ended up finding nutrition response testing, which I didn't know that specific technique, but kinesiology, which is a fancy word for muscle testing. That led me to figure out a technique that I can discuss, talk to the body, and figure out what the body's telling me so that I can be really specific and find out what's going on internally. And we'll talk a little bit about that. I think most of you have been muscle tested, but I think now that you've experienced it, it's really good for you to kind of go back and think like, yeah, what is she doing? She pushes on my arm and I really know how that really works, which is okay. You don't have to know exactly how it works. It took me 13 years of study and I'm still studying to figure that all out. But I I do want you to start to understand it a little bit, because everybody has a success story. They want to go and tell somebody else, and they don't know how to talk about it. And that's what we're finding. And anyway, that's when our practice really started to advance, and people came to us for the things that didn't get better with traditional medicine. And so we started becoming the experts for adrenal fatigue and chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia and all those like syndrome-y type things that, like, if you go to a traditional doctor, kind of skeezes them out. Like, they don't know how to handle that, because it's not just an A plus B equals C problem. It's really a whole body problem, and that's why a holistic program is necessary for that. So anyway, you know, learn all this stuff, start incorporating it into the practice, still studying today, helping more and more people, but I was able to recover my own health through doing all of that. So I keep forgetting what the number of years is now, but you know, I'm over 10 years, like, hormone-free, drug-free. I'm not on anything. You know, I don't have pain anymore. I'm totally fine. I had cysts on my ovaries. I don't have any cysts. I don't have any of that stuff. So I just know what's possible. And I think we've kind of been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, because I met some really great natural practitioners in the area, like what makes us different and why are we so much at odds with the traditional model. And I said, you know, I think the biggest thing is, like, because of what we do and the success stories that we see on a daily basis, we believe in the power of the body to heal itself. We see it happen every day, where in their model they don't see it, you know. And so I think they're a little bit shut off to that. And so, you know, your experience and your reality kind of dictates what your practice and recommendations and what you can handle are. So our reality is the body's capable of incredible things. It was designed incredibly, miraculously. It wasn't by mistake that it was created the way it was. And if the body isn't healing, then something's in the way of that. Something's either interrupting it, and we can remove that interference, or there's a building block that's missing, like a critical nutrient or mineral or something like that, that we can restore. And so to me, what we do on a daily basis is like the ABCs. It's the elementary model of healing. You know, remove the interference, add the critical building blocks, let the body go back into a healing state. Easy, right? I say it's easy, but it puts a lot of responsibility on the patient, and it can take time. It's not like a quick fix mentality. But when we get it, we've got it, right? I did an amen. Got an amen on that one. Okay, so I want you to open up your packet. The second page in there is the sugar addict quiz. We always do this, and if you've done it already with me, I encourage you to take it again, because if you've been on a program, you might be surprised to find out that your answers are different. So it's the sheet with all the boxes on it, true or false. For those of you that are watching online, we will be posting any documents that we discussed here later, like within the next week or so, but the Sugar Addict quiz is actually already on there. So if you can go to the files section of the Health by Design members only, you can quick find it. You'll be able to take the quiz right along with us. Does everybody have a pen? You need a pen? I'll go grab some. So you're just going to simply answer true or false. This has got 100%.
Mercy,
Teaspoons of sugar, or
Maybe I'll put it together. Okay, good.
if it's in something, I don't know.
So I love this part, because just like it's happening over here, we've got confusion about what is sugar, right?
Well, it says that I do not eat refined sugar, and in my mind, I'm thinking the teaspoons of, white
Right.
sugar.
Added sugar.
But it's sugar, refined sugar. It can be in a number of products, right?
Like candy, baked goods.
Yeah.
So that means
So-
refined sugar means added sugar, not fruit sugar or naturally occurring sugar. So anything that has sugar added
So
to
not
it,
even an apple,
that
even
doesn't
a
count.
caramel
Right.
Yeah.
dipped apple.
So there's-
Apple is false.
And honey doesn't count.
Honey doesn't count for this one.
Okay.
I know, and then there's always somebody that laughs too. It is funny, right? I do laugh about the one about hiding it. I know, I did too.
I don't do it anymore. Honestly.
You can answer it for now, yeah, not what used to be.
Okay.
But we should have had you take this before, right? Because can you already see changes in how you might have answered it previously versus now? Yeah.
Can I have candy and other sweets in my home? That's a trick question there.
Dr. Christie, what about like in something crazy like chicken broth that has sugar
Well, if
in
it has
it?
it in it,
Then
it
that's
does
refined,
count. It
right?
is refined,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
And I always tell a funny story that you do have to become a label reader. And if you haven't been to our label reading class, that is a really good class. It is on the members only page that you can go back and get the notes on that. So if you're not on the members only page and you can't have access to some of this stuff, you can go to the members only page and just request and we'll add you to it. Yeah. We try to keep up with like new patients and adding you to the list, but if we've missed you or you want, if anybody online wants to be added, go ahead and just click the join button. Okay, so I see everybody finishing up. So all you need to do is count how many falses you had. And no, I'm going to ask you a question, but you don't have to raise your hands. You can just answer this to yourselves. I'm not outing anybody here. I love somebody, I went to a seminar the other weekend and they said, this isn't the perfect eating club. And so I thought that was really great because I think sometimes people think we're just like, oh, no. We're all human. And sometimes I'll tell you my own confessions because I like an occasional chocolate truffle at night. Everybody's like, what? Happens. Okay, so if you answered false to more than 4 of the statements, chances are you're probably sugar sensitive, if not sugar addicted. And so what that means is you could be addicted to sugar in the same way that an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol. There's actually research that shows that sugar is more addictive than cocaine itself as far as the pleasure sensory parts of the brain and the impact that it has on mood and everything like that. So if you're sugar sensitive or sugar addicted, what that means is you crave sugar, you eat it, you feel better temporarily, but then you crash, requiring more sugar to reach the same results. And over time, it requires more of the drug called sugar to achieve the same results. It also means that you might realize that it's wrong to eat it, but you perpetuate the habit and do it anyway, right? If you didn't answer false to more than 4 of the questions, good for you. But you can turn to the next page, and I'm going to give you 143 reasons why it's still a good idea to start cutting back on the amount of sugar in your diet. So tonight is the talk on immune systems. You don't have to read through this whole list, but what I will tell you is almost every major killer in America is on this list, linking the consumption of sugar to heart disease, to diabetes, to cancers. Every single cancer on the list is on here. But immune system is going to be on here, and autoimmune type diseases, anything related back to the immune system. So what we tell parents is it's really important for you to know that if kids drink something like a soda, it suppresses their immune system for 24 hours. And so how many adults are having multiple sodas a day? Their immune system never gets a chance to recover from that. So what happens when your coworker or the person next to you brings in some kind of infection or something yucky, some kind of germs in the office, you're going to be the first one to get it. And the same is true for children, except their immune system is weaker than ours anyway. So kids should never be drinking soda as far as I'm concerned. Tooth decay is on there, Sherry. We got all the tooth stuff in there too. That's a little obvious, like you chew on it. Okay, so let me introduce the concept of you are what you eat. So let's say the symptom tonight we're talking about would be like stuffy nose, scratchy throat, achy body, all the stuff that you think of cold and flu stuff. So what we know is that regardless of what your symptom is, that there's a nutritional deficiency underlying it. Okay, and the more nutritional deficiency there is, the more organ dysfunction we have. Because your organs need the nutrition to function properly. The reason we have this on a triangle is because you can read it forward or you can read it backwards. So the more angry symptoms you have, the worse off the organs underlying that are, and the more nutrition the organs are needing. Okay? So if you're putting garbage in, you're getting garbage out, and your symptoms are accelerated or worsened. Okay? So what my job is with nutrition is to arrest this progression on any one of the angles or any one of the arms of the triangle. So we use the triangle because if we change one arm of the triangle, that's going to affect all the other arms of it, all the other, right? We get that. Remember your geometry? It's geometry, right? Yeah, algebra is all the A's and letters, the numbers and letters combined. I'm sorry for you kids out there. Confusing. Okay, so let's go to our folder. We're going to get into the meat of the subject tonight, natural immunity. And the big highlighted topic is that if you take care of your body will take care of you. So, remember we were just doing our quiz for a minute. We had a lot of confusion and questions about what is sugar and what counts as sugar and what doesn't count as sugar. Well, there's just as much confusion about what is health and what isn't health. So did you know that health is more than just the presence or absence of disease or symptoms? Does anybody know what I even just said?
I'm sorry, I was looking for my
It's
sheet.
okay. So, no, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying, like,
Sure.
I said a concept, but does that make any sense to anybody? Or it might be a concept that you've heard repeated before, but did you ever think about what it might mean? So what I said was, health is more than merely the presence or absence of disease or symptoms.
Right.
So, if you don't have a named disease, you're not diagnosed with anything, does that mean you're healthy?
No.
Not necessarily, because
No.
something could just be right below that threshold level, and then the next thing bumps you into symptom zone, right? Okay. So you guys are smart. You're good. What the definition of health is, and you can look in multiple dictionaries. Health is a state of optimal physical, mental, and social well-being. So the combination of all those three things. Is there any steadfast blood test, imaging study, measurement tool for you to tell you if you're in a state of optimal physical, mental, or social well-being?
No.
So how do we know?
Through a blood test, they can't tell you. I don't think so.
Right.
How your state of mind is, it's not measured
Right,
that way.
right. So the whole point is that there's no easy way to tell you how healthy you are. And so the entire model that we teach and that we perpetuate in the office is that what I said in the beginning, your body, if you take care of your body, it will take care of you. The whole idea, and what I say is, like, if something takes me out, I'm going to know that I did everything in my power, everything that I could do financially, that I was willing to dedicate my time and my effort to. Like, I did what I was willing to do with whatever resources I had to prevent it in the first place. And then if it happens, then it's God's plan, and whatever, we can talk about a whole nother message there, right? But what I also know is that if something does come on my body, and I am, God forbid, diagnosed with something, then I'm going to have confidence in my body to combat it and come up against it. And I'm going to come out the other end a lot better than my, counterpart who had the trash diet and ate the, sugar and refined foods and all that other stuff, right? So I think a lot of this is having confidence in your body to perform for you. You don't have to be an Olympian or some kind of major athlete or, whatever. Like a lot of different professions have to perform to the top of their ability. You don't have to have one of those careers to have to ask your body to come to bat for you, right? Okay. So, and then the other idea between what is health is that we're more than our pieces and parts, right? So I think a lot of times in medicine they break you up into, like, there's a doctor for this area, and there's a doctor for this area, and there's a doctor for this area, and this area is not talking to that area or that area. That's impossible. You can't affect one part of your body without it affecting other parts of the body. And so this pieces and parts mentality or model of treatment just simply doesn't work with what we're given. That's not how the body works at all. So a holistic model is what we need in order to experience actual healing. Okay? So then what are symptoms? So we're going on and on about we're not doctors that treat symptoms, I don't diagnose diseases. Then what utility would the symptom have to us? So a symptom,
They know what parts are struggling.
exactly. Symptoms are important. We don't treat them, we listen to them. Well, we do. But what does the medical model do? So let's stick a little bit to the immunity stuff, right? So we're talking about immunity. So what would we do if we had a sore throat?
Gargle.
That would be smart. She said gargle. That's a good thing.
That's what I would do.
Well, it depends on what you're gargling with.
Salt water?
But the medical model would give you maybe like a cough drop right, and suppress the sore throat, right? What would we do if we had an achy head?
Aspirin, Tylenol.
Something that would be a pain reliever, so dealing with the symptom of pain, right? What would we do if we had nausea?
Pepto, diglyceride.
Take something like an anti-nausea type of medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
think,
anti-nausea medicine, sticking with the last example, is that going to get rid of whatever is making your
No.
stomach sick?
Because you're treating the symptom, not the
You're
source.
treating the symptom. Now, what caused? So in our model, we're asking the question why. So back up and always say why. Why is the stomach upset? Do you know that there's several reasons why your stomach could be upset? So you could have stomach upset, and you could have stomach upset, and so could you. And the reason, and therefore the treatment, would be totally different. So yours could just be like hunger pains, and you haven't eaten in 4 hours, and you need to go and take care of that. And yours could be that you don't have enough stomach acid, and so when you try to eat, it hurts and it bloats and it can't move things through, right? Somebody else's could be that they have erosions because they've had prolonged acid issues and the mucosa is inflamed. Somebody, she said chili. Chick-fil-A.
That's scary.
Somebody else's could be because of a bad diet and just continually inflaming the lining of the gut, right? So all those things are a little bit different, and so the treatment or the underlying cause is going to be different. So we could give that anti-nausea or antacid type medicine all we want, but if we took the medicine away, the problem would come back. It's not resolved. So can we all kind of understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're smart. So Kathy said it. We say that the symptoms are that call to action. It's like in your car, it's the check engine light. And so we're not supposed to suppress it. We're supposed to listen to it. And I think that's another, like, don't get me wrong, like, this is not a medical bashing model at all, and I'm not a medical basher whatsoever. I'm just trying to paint the picture of when do you use one appropriately and when do you use another. And I had another conversation with somebody today, like, it's not all one or the other, right? If some emergency type thing comes on us and we need our parts stuffed back in her and we need top surgery or we have like some kind of bleed or something, like, we're lucky and blessed to live in America where we have the top doctors and the top, technology and chemistry and all that kind of stuff. But why do we have to wait until there's some major blowout episode to do anything about it? And so that's what we're proponents of, is like, we're not going to wait and see. Let's just take care of our bodies during that whole period to hopefully prevent it or come through stronger on the other end. So that's the whole idea of the wellness model, is to find the underlying cause of the problem and restore function. Let's see. We have change your thinking. I think we talked a lot about this. The whole one thing I guess I want to add on that is if we act more preventatively, then we have more choices, right? So we have a test that we do on our patients called heart rate variability. So if you are a new patient, that's the first thing that we start out with, because it tells me how well your body is going to heal and how well your body's adapting to stresses. If I can find out that there's something sooner before you're in crisis mode, we have more options and choices, right? They're more likely that something natural and less invasive is going to work for you and be successful. If you wait and now you come in all of a sudden, you've got multiple diagnoses and multiple prescriptions and medications, and you're this close to some kind of emergency event again, the less likely what I'm going to be able to do for you with diet and nutrition is going to work. So again, we're trying to reach out to younger and younger generations and have them do this preventative thing early in life and teach them that they have control over their final outcome. Okay, so I don't think I gave the flu shot lecture to anybody. Nobody's asked me about the flu shot yet. Okay, good. So we're going to talk about the flu shot a little bit. If you do want extra information on this, I have a couple of handouts. It's not even my writing, it's somebody else's research and whatnot. I don't know. You can decide. My whole thing is I'm not even going to say where I stand on it. You can guess. Make a guess on it. But
We know.
I'm going to say it.
We know.
Okay. I've never had one.
Me either.
And I never plan on having one.
Me
So
either.
I can tell you that.
Never.
But I want to tell you why it doesn't work. Number one is that it is injecting a drug that weakens the immune system, and therefore it does make you more susceptible to the flu. So has anybody heard of somebody who had the flu shot and then got the flu?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you just get the flu and leave the rest of the chemicals out of your body, right? Like, why do you need the shot? It's not a real vaccine. So when you were kids, name some vaccines that you had as a child.
Smallpox,
Polio,
measles,
polio.
polio.
Exactly.
Polio.
Did you ever have to get that vaccine again? No. That's a real vaccine. So the flu shot's not a real vaccine because you wouldn't have ever had to have it again. Okay. It is a guess. It's a guess on what this year's strain is going to be. So they don't always get it right. In fact, most of the time don't. And so it's also based on last year's strain. Viruses, so you know, mutate and change every year. So it's kind of like, it's not susceptible to the vaccine that they're giving this year. You can Google the effectiveness of it on your own. It's more effective in people who are already healthy, is what the be-all end-all is. So if you are already healthy, you don't really need the flu shot in the first place. And I'll just talk about this a little bit, about original intention. When the flu shot first came out, it wasn't intended for everybody. And so now through marketing and sales and profitability and everything, they're just saying like everybody needs it. But it was originally intended for elderly, people who are susceptible to it, somebody who if they got the flu, it could be life-threatening because of the like lack of ability to fight infection or possible, you know, dehydration or incapacitating them or something like that. Well, when my patients ask me about it, I say, well, are you afraid of the flu? Like, what if you got the flu? Do you think it's gonna kill you? Like, do you think your chance, like, do you have that, like I was saying, that trust in your body to perform to you and combat the flu? So for me, like, if I got it, yeah, it would stink. You know, it might take me out for a day or something. I might feel cruddy, but I know what to do for my body so that it'll get over it. So I'm not afraid of it. You know what I mean? The other thing that I want to say is that we're not saying trash your body, eat a ton of sugar, drink soda every day, you know, be overweight and do all these things and then don't do the flu shot. We're saying that if you make an educated decision and you don't like what you read and you don't think that the flu shot is right for you, then do something else. Okay? You still need immune support, you still need a good diet, you still need your immune system boosted. So we're not saying just ignore the issue altogether and go about doing whatever it was that you already did, or the same thing for your kids. We're not saying don't inoculate them and then let them have a bad diet and then be like, oh shoot, they got the flu. Like, yeah. And then know the facts. So here's something that I found in research. For every 5 flu shots that you get, you increase your risk of Alzheimer's by 10.
Is that new information?
I don't have. I wrote this. Well, it's new as of last year. Yeah, this lecture was written last year, and we keep adding to it. We keep updating it and whatnot. And I'll say, as far as new, like a lot of the CD statistics are within the last 5 to 7 years. So they wait to republish new statistics. So it's new within
It's new.
5 to 7. Yeah. Okay, who wants to talk about sugar? Nobody. So one big major preventative thing that you can do is not eat sugar. And let me help you understand why. So I'm not just like sugar police up here. The average American now consumes more sugar in a day than our ancestors actually consumed in an entire year. And that's because of, like you said, what was the one food you said?
Chicken broth.
Chicken broth. You know what another one? Salt.
What?
Table salt. Some table salt contains sugar. So who would have thought that if you're buying salt and it just says salt that you had to read the label on it? You gotta
I
read your
might eat
label.
margarita salt. That's what
Okay,
it's
you
on.
know that's there. You can have it without salt and you won't get bloated. Consuming the equivalent of 2 sodas can decrease immune function by 75% for 4 to 6 hours, and it's worse in kids. A rise in blood sugar to 120 can create this effect. So 120 is not much, right? Is anybody in here a blood sugar tracker? Not anymore. 120 isn't very high, right?
70 to 130 is the average.
That's the
So
average.
it's not real high. You know.
But if you raise
It's in
your
the good
blood
range.
sugar to 120, which is by some doctors' standards considered in an okay, healthy range, it still decreases your immune system by 75%.
Oh my goodness.
So our standards are a lot higher. Like what Bruce was just saying was that's like the American Diabetes Association. That's their
Right.
numbers, right?
Right.
We need everybody under 99. Sugar competes with the absorption of vitamin C. So everybody kind of knows, like, there's lots of vitamin C supplements out there and those emergency packets. We already know it's a foolproof, you know, we know research shows that vitamin C is good for the immune system. But eating sugar decreases the absorption of vitamin C. So you can eat sugar and take all the vitamin C you want, and your immune system still isn't going to go to bat for you. And I was just saying, obviously children are more sensitive to all of these effects that we're talking. Here's a bummer. All sugar is created equal. Does anybody know what that statement means?
Body doesn't know the difference between them.
Yeah. The body doesn't know the difference between good sugars and bad sugars. So you can make healthier decisions. There are whole grain breads and there are, you know, fruit sugars instead of candy bars and that kind of thing. But the body, if it breaks down into sugar, the cumulative effect of your sugar intake is inflammatory and can cause these effects. So that's why we're always harping on people about sugar and carbohydrates. And that's all combined. Okay. I know y'all hate me. We're almost done. You can all stomp out. Okay, so let's turn this around. I bummed everybody out. I took away your favorite foods and everything like that. But what can you do? Let's talk about the empowering part of it, because there is a lot you can do. Okay, so diet is humongous. So I've listed some of the best foods for immune system. So eating plenty of fiber is a good thing. Greens, get your greens and veggies. Fermented foods naturally have probiotics in them, so I think everybody, again, probiotics is something that's very well studied and people understand that it's good for you. But you can get it in some of these fermented foods instead of some of the yogurts that are like loaded with sugar and flavor. Yeah, if your yogurt says it's flavored like key lime pie, it's not yogurt, it's dessert. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true, right? Mushrooms, that was something, when I learned this years ago, I was surprised. Mushrooms have one of the highest levels of vitamin C of any fruit or veggie. Isn't that so? Fruit and veggies with color. So we say eat the rainbow. If anybody follows us on Instagram, we do a hashtag eat the rainbow, and we're always putting fun pictures of fruit and veggies because it's just incredible to me how beautiful these things are from nature. So the more phytonutrients it has. So if you could pick a sweet potato over a white potato, sweet potato has more color, pick that. If you could choose purple grapes, red grapes over green grapes, that has more color, eat the red grapes. If you can get some of these field green lettuces and purple lettuces and red kale and stuff over just the green's plenty fine enough, but it's got more phytonutrients and more of a variety. Okay. Bone broth. We were going to make you bone broth tonight, but I thought if I advertised, hey, we're making bone broth, it wouldn't be much of a draw. So for marketing reasons, they did not make you bone broth. But you can make your own broth. You just put bones, you can go get bones with the marrow, like from your butcher. They'll sell you or give you sometimes the bones, and you just boil it in a pot of water for a few hours, strain out all the bones, and then you could use that. Some people just drink the broth, like they'll flavor it with onions and some celery and stuff like that, and then other people use that as their stock to make some kind of soup out of. But bone broth is getting all this attention nowadays. So that's something like, I don't know, most of you are on some kind of standard processed products. Have you ever read the labels on that stuff? It's got a lot of things in there that you wouldn't eat, you wouldn't want to eat. Some people would eat it, but back in the day, if you think about it, when they used an animal, they used all parts of the animal. They ate the organs, they scraped out the marrow, they used the bones for stock. We don't do that anymore. We only just eat the muscle tissue, which is the meaty part. So when I tell our patients, it's like, why do I need supplements and there's so many pills? Well, if you're not willing to eat some of these foods to get the variety and the nutrition, then that's where a supplement comes into play. So I always tell patients the word supplement means to supplement an already healthy diet and lifestyle. That's why we call it a supplement. It doesn't replace, not called a replacement. It doesn't replace your food and nutrition, right? Okay. Eating low carb, we already hit that. You all get the carb and sugar thing. Garlic, so I'm Italian, we put garlic in everything. Sardines are good. Tuna is good. Brazil nuts are high in selenium, which is a part of the vitamin E complex. Fruits and veggies like peppers, strawberries, papayas, Nuts and seeds are good for you. Lean proteins, chickpeas, carrots, sweet potatoes, squash, and beans. So those are all good things. They're all good stuff. And actually, you could put most of those in a pot with the bone broth and call it a soup. Call it a stew.
Yeah.
You could eat it all week long. That's a time saver. Also, what we can do is work on healthy gut function. So, food sensitivities are ever increasing, and that's something that we deal with on a daily basis. But you can't just eliminate, right? I'm allergic to this, I'm celiac, I can't eat this food. Again, ask the question why. Digest an organic tomato, for example, right? Agreed? So if it can't, then what is the underlying root of that? And so we actually have gut repair protocols that we do. We call them weed and feed. Weed out the bad bacteria, weed out the bad. It's like a garden. It's the same mentality as a garden. You gotta weed out the bad stuff for the good stuff to grow. Unless you have a tower garden. We can talk about that on September 20th. So that's a protocol that we do with patients. So not just eliminate, but get a healthy foundation for the gut, and then maybe the possibility of reintroducing foods. Exercise definitely helps the immune system. So that's if you are over vigorous with this, it actually can deplete you, but a healthy balance of a little bit of exercise on a daily basis is a good thing. And it helps detoxify you through your sweat glands. So sometimes when you're sick, if you're too down and out to actually physically exercise and you don't have good endurance, things like the foot bath will help detoxify you, and you would just sit in a chair. A sauna is a good idea. You can just sit there and be sedentary and just sweat, like literally sweat it out. So there is research to show that. And that it actually increases white blood cell activity. Develop natural immunity by exposure. We actually want the kids to crawl around in the dirt and exchange snot and swap spit and all that kind of stuff. That's how you grow your immune system. We're raising these kids in these sterile little bubbles, and they can't fight off anything anymore. Okay? Hand sanitizers. Who's a hand sanitizer fan? You're not on camera, I am. No one is. It's okay. But have you read some of the stuff on like the antibacterial soaps and the overuse of hand sanitizers, and it's over sterile, and now what it does is it allows the bad bacteria to grow stronger, and then the weak bacteria gets killed off by the stuff. And so now you've got antibiotic resistance to these big deadly strains of bacteria and infection. So that's the big thing in hospitals right now, that they're trying to figure that out. So the cool thing is, and we'll talk about some essential oils in a minute, there's no disease resistance to some of this stuff because it's natural. Stress management. Who's got stress?
Oh,
Nobody.
Yeah.
We're all perfect, cool cucumbers in this room. Good for you. But stress is a big thing. And so what does that mean, stress management? Whatever it means to you, just find a way to eliminate the stress that you like. You don't have to be a marathon runner. You don't have to be a gym rat. Sometimes it's meditation. Sometimes it's breathing. Sometimes it's a yoga practice. Sometimes it's just like a time out and go walk and smell the flowers kind of a thing. Like get out of whatever your situation is, and just go and breathe for a minute. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be like time consuming. Your stress management shouldn't cause you more stress. Okay? That's a good rule of thumb. We put so much pressure on ourselves even to relax, right? I know. Getting adjusted. So again, going back to the chiropractic model, it's not just neck pain, back pain, headache. So if we looked at a model of the spine, and we have one right here, if you look at C1, that's immune system. The upper thoracics, T2 through 4, actually goes to your thymus gland, which is where your white blood cells mature. Some of the lower thoracic and lumbar vertebrae go to your gut, and your gut is your second immune system. So getting adjusted helps remove interference from those areas, so those areas function better. So again, take care of the body, and the body takes care of you. Okay? So then I think the natural thing is to think about, well, what can I take, right? Because we're still like a take a pill kind of a situation. But the truth of the matter is, there are supplements and herbs that you can use. And sometimes we do give stuff symptomatically. If somebody's like really suffering and they need to break down some condition and stuff, there's natural things that we can use. But the whole idea of anything that we're going to use here is to build up your body's natural immune function so that your immune system will fight the disease or infection. So that's what I said. We don't treat diseases or infections, but we give things for the body to go to bat for you. Calcium, isn't that funny? What do we normally think calcium is for? Your bones, your teeth, right? But calcium is actually gas. It's gas for the immune system. It's needed for your immune system to create blood cells and to mature them and to fight for you. That's why little kids get sick often when they're going through like growth spurts, because all the calcium is going into their bones to grow their healthy skeleton, but then they don't have enough. If they don't have enough reserves, or they're drinking soda, or they're not getting healthy green leafy vegetables that have calcium in them, they're depleted, and so they're susceptible to the next little thing that their schoolmate or sibling or whoever brings along. Zinc is a good mineral. In the standard process line, we have things called glandulars. And so the thymus gland, what we were talking about, it's right in your sternum where your white blood cells are manufactured and where they're matured. We have something to actually stimulate the thymus gland to work better. Echinacea, I should have brought the echinacea. So in the next couple of months, we'll do, we have a taste test that we set up when you come in. If you're daring enough, you can do the echinacea taste test. Because real echinacea, like the potent stuff that actually has the active ingredients in it, should make your tongue tingle. So if you're taking an echinacea, an over-the-counter one, some of them are in capsules, so you have to like open up and pour the dry powder on it. If it doesn't make your tongue tingle, if you suck on it for a couple of seconds, it has 0 of the active ingredient in it whatsoever. So we'll do the echinacea challenge in a month or so. Garlic. Yes, we could get that through diet. Some people just don't like to eat it, or they say they burp it up. So you can take it in a tablet form. Andrographis is an herb complex that we use here. That if you are symptomatic, that's something to use to try to suppress symptoms right away. Selenium, iron, vitamin A, B, C, D, and E. So that's most of them, right? You just need vitamins. I just flat out need vitamins. And then some of our favorite essential oils. Thieves is a really great one. Thieves is one of the most common ones in this lineup. They've got everything from like toothpaste to bar soap to hand sanitizers to the actual oil. We've got pump hand soap. We use this for household cleaner. So a lot of parent patients want to know how to clean their houses effectively without toxic chemicals and whatever. So Thieves is a good combo, and it actually smells good. So I'm going to pass this little guy around because I talked to you about hand sanitizers and the whole like antibiotic susceptibility. You're welcome to try a little sample, just a little squirt, and rub your hands together. So that is an option. Oregano. I know that there's actually some hospitals that are using oregano in different studies now. So that to me smells like green beans. When I was a little kid, my grandma put oregano on all of our green beans. So you can smell that. I'm just going to pass these so you can wear them, you can smell them, you can do whatever you want with them. Maybe on sensory overload. That was oregano. Frankincense.
Oregano oil, it's really good for your gums.
You can tell me. There's certain things we're allowed to say and not say, which is ridiculous. Frankincense actually decreases tumor-like activity. Anybody, what's an example of tumor? I can't say it.
What's that one? Frankincense?
Balsam fir is another one. You can actually use these in capsules. So some of these things can actually, you can get little veggie caps and put the droplets in them and take them internally. And these are 100% pure grade essential oils, so they're strong.
Is Thieves the name of an herb, or is that a product name?
Which one? The Thieves?
Thieves.
I'll pass it. It's a combo product, and I can pass you little cards around. I don't
So
have one for everybody, but
it's not the name of an herb, then it's a.
no, this has things like I can read the label to you. It has clove. That's what you're smelling is the clove. It has lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. That's the combination of the thieves, and you can smell the essential oil.
Does she
The
have that?
these
Oh,
is what's
okay.
diffusing in the diffuser right now. Here's a couple of cards. I don't have very many, but if you
Yeah,
want,
they
you
are,
can
so.
keep it. And then garlic. And then we're gonna end our session with a question. What is the only system in the body that fights cancer?
What did you do?
Fights.
That's the only system in your body.
Wow.
The immune system.
I was like, what are we talking about tonight? The immune system. Absolutely. So your body's the only thing that can fight it.
Interesting.
Mike, you wanna end the
It's,
video? I guess I'm walking right up to the video. Hi everybody.
Cypress. Yellow.
Not bad at all.
That's the Boston.
I just kept one.